Okay, everybody, I thought I'd come back. It's about 10:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or I guess you would say, Eastern Standard Time in Tennessee, in Western Tennessee anyway. Eastern Tennessee, I'll get it right in a second, Eastern Tennessee. And I thought I'd share a few more things before the New Year's that I did in 2025. Back in March, when I was down in Florida trying to go to my class reunion, which I didn't go to, I got a Facebook message from a person who was not on my friends list. It's just like a Facebook message request. You know, you have to click on it and open it. I didn't know who it was from. This was March 2025, and it was a man named Gene Higgins, Higgins. And he wanted me to call him. He just said, call me, left me his phone number, and it was a Nashville, Tennessee number. I still haven't called him. I was going to call him today. It's the last day of the year, but I didn't. So I looked on the internet and found out who he was. And he's associated in Nashville. He's very well known as a music producer. And he has this Gene Higgins School of Music. And let's see, I'm reading things off here. He's the president of the Inspirational Country Music Association. He has spent decades empowering songwriters within the Christian and country music scene. He's involved in MC1 Nashville and Power Source Music. He assists in the promotion and distributions of songs. And so basically, he's like a person that helps people, I guess like me, songwriters, get off the ground. And yet, just to give you an idea of how bad I have felt, I didn't get excited about it. I just said, I assumed that he saw my songs on Facebook. I assumed that he had seen some of my songs floating around and wanted to reach out to me. That's what I assumed. Well, I don't know. I haven't called him. That's what low self-esteem does. And feeling sorry for yourself and who just don't give a shit, not having any friends, no connections. So I didn't call him. You know, I'm sure it has something to do with, in all the years of all the songs I've written and all, I don't get no one ever says anything about them. And no one's ever acknowledged. I only had one person say a long time ago that I had songs I could sell and make money off of, but I don't believe in myself. And because of the state of mind is everything. Because I don't feel loved. I don't love myself. I don't have anybody else to love. I didn't call back. I may call back next week, next Monday, see if he's still interested. But he's some kind of person. He's an older man. Looked like he's probably in his late 60s or early 70s, mid 70s. He had retired in 2012. So here's a man, but he came back. He came back and wanted to work. He decided to come out of retirement. So here's a man that's probably rubbed elbows with any country star, any musician you've ever known on TV, or any famous musician out of Nashville, and I don't even call him back. So I wanted to tell you about that. I also want to just make a comment that I live in a world of, I've lost track. How many people? 8 billion, 10 billion people? Probably more than that. And billions of women. And can't connect with a single one of them. And that's been my whole life, ever since my early 30s, 20s. All these can't connect, all the internet and all the technology and ability to reach out to women everywhere on Facebook. I could message them. I could ask them if they want to go on a date. It's unlimited. And I'd rather sit home and sleep until 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon and just say, fuck it. That is what is the weirdest thing about it. Just completely alone in the sea of humanity. I'm just this one individual. I don't have a single friend. I didn't have a single place to go on Christmas. Not a single relative. If I was to die today, not a single person even knows where I'm at. If I got injured on that Blood Mountain trip where I tried to hike Blood Mountain in Georgia, where I was up there about 38, I got to 3,800 feet elevation. Nobody would have known anything about it. I don't care. Another thing I want to talk about that I did, I was down in Florida at that class reunion that I didn't go to. And I decided to ride by my childhood home. I haven't been at my childhood home in 42 years. I moved out in 1980, so 45 years. I left my childhood home in Florida in 1980. The last time I was there was 1982. My mother hung herself and committed suicide, and I was there in 1982 for the funeral in my hometown. So when I was down there in March in Polk County, Florida, I decided to drive by there. Well, I've driven by my home many times and tried to, in hopes I could maybe catch somebody there and go in and and look at my old home. But this particular Sunday, I was getting ready to go back to Tennessee the next day. I rode by there and I saw people mowing the yard, and I figured it was probably the landlords cutting the grass. And I couldn't believe it. I pulled in there about probably 1 o'clock in the afternoon and walked up to the back garage that I haven't walked up to in 42 years. The last time I was there was 1982, and there was a woman who turned out she was the real estate agent, and she had bought the home from the owner, and she was trying to get it set up. They were going to rent it for like I think it was crazy, like $2,500 a month. This house wasn't worth $50,000. It's like a 1950 home. But anyhow, there I am standing in the garage where my parents' cars and my were from 1957 to 1980. And I introduced myself. The reason I've stopped here is because I haven't been in this home since 1982. I said, this is my childhood home. And man, her mouth about dropped right open, just for an owner to walk in and tell the real estate agent, this is my home from 42 years ago. So I ended up staying there about an hour, and she invited me to come in the house, and it was empty. So I'm walking around in my bedroom 45 years later, I'm in my bedroom, the bathroom that I was in for 23 years, where I ate in the kitchen for 23 years, where all my hopes and dreams, wanting to fall in love with the first girlfriend in 1975, and then when I graduated from high school, and the years I went to college, and all the hunting trips and fishing trips I made from that home, all the friends I knew, all the years I went to church, same church for 23 years, long before I became this empty shell you see today. So here I am back in my childhood home. I was 67 at the time I was in there. I hadn't quite turned 68. And, of course, they had put up some ceramic tile on the floors. Are now ceramic tile when they used to be VCT. And they put tile on the bathroom walls and everything. They put countertops in the kitchen. It's just an old southern Florida. It wasn't even 1,100 square feet. 2 bedrooms, and I lived in that home. This home where I was beaten and abused for 7 years. And my mother committed suicide. I said, my mother I told the real estate, I said, my mother hung herself about 75 feet right back there behind that fence. She hung herself in an orange tree. 1982. So I got to do that. I got to visit my childhood home. And the only thing I hate about it is I didn't take a video. I didn't take a video while I was walking around or take pictures. That makes me so mad that I didn't do that. But I was tired. I was wore out. I wasn't feeling good when I was there. But I sent her a bunch of pictures of my home, how it looked back in the 70s and 80s. She was amazed. So I visited my childhood home. Another thing that happened back in June, I had to go down to South Georgia, and on the way back, I stopped in Broxton, Georgia, where I used to work on my uncle's farm. My mother is from Broxton, Georgia, which is in Coffee County. It's near Douglas. And I went by my cousin. I haven't seen this cousin of mine in 17 years. The last time I saw him was 2009. Well, now he had moved, and he was living in my uncle's house in Broxton, Georgia, where I used to work on the farm. And so I couldn't believe, I've wanted to visit that house since my uncle moved out in 1974. That was his last year before he retired. He had 1,000 acres. And I used to work there, cropping tobacco and doing hay, working with hay and helping with the hogs and cattle and driving tractors. So I visited a home that I haven't been in 51 years. Well, my cousin wasn't there. I left him a note, so I couldn't go in. It didn't look nothing like it used to. I mean, all the trees were cut down. The fields are all bare. My uncle's been dead for 34 years. But my cousin, he was my uncle's grandson. He's now living in his grandfather's house. So I want to go back, hopefully go back down there this next year and visit him and go back in that house. So it's a weird feeling. The last time I was in that house, I was 17 years old. And here I am standing on the carport at 68 years old. That was a weird feeling. This is back in June, early July. So I did that. Sometime last year, around September, I got pulled over for a red light. The first time I've been pulled over by a cop since 1994. I got a DUI in 1994 in Orlando. I spent 2 nights in jail. They put me in the psych ward because they were afraid I was going to, afraid I might be suicidal, which at the time I was. And that was back in, I was like 34. How old would I have been? I was about 37 years old at the time. And I haven't been pulled over by a police officer since 1994. And then last year, I think it was in the early fall, I was door dashing one night, and I had quit door dashing. I was coming home about 12 o'clock. I was only like a half a mile from my apartment. And I ran through a red light. A light I've driven through for 6 years. I've driven under for 6 years. And I saw it turning, and I tried to beat it, and I didn't make it. And here come the blue lights. Now, I wasn't scared. I said, oh, shit, last thing I need is a ticket and mess my perfect record up. So I pulled over. I turned my lights on inside the car. I wanted him to be able to see me, had my hands on the steering wheel, and I already had my wallet out. And this black cop walks up to me, and he just as nice as he could be, doesn't even come up to this. He just kind of stays back a little bit behind. He says, hello, sir. He says, I don't need to seize your license. He says, I said, I'm just out giving a warning. He said, I'm just giving you a warning tonight. That's all he said. Couldn't believe it. Chattanooga, Tennessee, and the guy just pulls me over, had a smile on his face, said, I don't need to see your license. He said, you have a good night, sir. I'm thinking, what in the fuck has just happened? How can I run through a red light at midnight on Chattanooga, Tennessee, and get pulled over by a cop and be told, I don't need to see your license, and you have a good night, sir, and go home? So that happened. Okay, that happened to me. So that, I don't know, I guess you call it, that would definitely be a positive. For those of you watching this channel, there's probably 100 videos you can't see. I still never activated them. I never turned them back on. I just hit them. I got afraid of the content, of them, and I still feel I need to go back. I mean, they're shitty videos, negative, a lot more negative than this one. But there they were. They're on there unlisted or in private mode. And I might go back on there this weekend. It's 55 minutes to the new year. This has been a shithole year of grand descriptions, other than the couple things I told you about visiting my childhood home. I look back at all the things. I mean, basically, I've been in bed for a year. I've made $26,000 a year. That's all I've made. I have lived on about $250 a month on food. And I don't care. Not having a girlfriend, not having a relationship, not having access to human sexuality, companionship, it sucks. It's always sucked. It sucked for 45, 50 years of it. And I never get over it. I never get over being angry about it and resentful of those who have it. And I just keep doing the same thing over and over again. Don't care. I feel my time is probably getting near as far as I really feel a lot less energy than I did a year ago. Of course, I'm not exercising and working out like I was. Just loneliness. It's just I can't fix it. I got involved with a book called A Course in Miracles when I was 29, and that book fucked me up. It made me think that I'm not supposed to have any needs, that my body's not real, and it changed me in a way. It changed my personality in a way that everyone vanished out of my life. Once I got involved in that metaphysical book, everyone I ever knew were gone. I mean, every relationship dissolved. I had the chance to go to another class reunion this year, just for my class, the class of 1975, and I couldn't afford to do it, so I didn't go. 600-mile drive, So I'm in a situation where if anything happened, like my car completely broke and couldn't be fixed, or I had a wreck, I'd be screwed. I wouldn't have a way to get around. And I haven't had a job now in 3 years. I haven't had a job. I mean, I had one part-time job early last year, 2024, and quit the first week. But I haven't worked in basically 3 years. I haven't, other than DoorDash. And that's not going to, if I needed to buy a new car, the income is not, nobody's going to sell me a car. And my credit's, because of that bankruptcy, it's come up some. I think it's 600. The score is like 660. I mean, right after the bankruptcy, right before it was like 500, and the FICO score was 580. I don't know. So I never did have that surgery done on my eyes. A doctor told me 3 years ago that I had cancer under my eyelids, and they had this thing called MOES. MOES surgery. They had to cut a hole here, and I said, "Fuck that, man! I'll just die, because I'm not going to have somebody cut a hole in my face." And then I had to go home. Then I had to wait, and then the next day I had to go to see another doctor to close it. Go to see two different doctors, a dermatologist. Got to have a cab. I had nobody to drive me, and I need to have a couple of root canals. I'm not in any kind of pain. I had a cap done last year, two caps done in the last couple of years, but they're telling me I need to have two root canals done to save a tooth, and I haven't done that. I mean, I got the Medicare will pay it, so I don't have Medicare. I don't have food stamps. I have to pay everything, my food and electric, which is not much electric, but the rent's $1,379 a year. I just can't get motivated to find a cheaper place, go back to work. Being alone. So that's about enough, I guess, for this video. I want to talk about that Gene Higgins, which I did. And I haven't done anything with my music because I don't know how. I don't have a means to record it and put it out there. And plus, I'm just depressed all the time. It's not so much depression. It's just anyhow. I'll just shut up here. It's not so much depression as it is. It's hopelessness. Once you get into a negative state of mind in this world, you can't change. I want to talk about later in another video about this Hollywood family, Rob and Michelle Reiner, the Hollywood people, whose son Nick Reiner, Reiner, recently, I think it's been 3 Sundays ago, 32-year-old came in and stabbed his parents to death. That's hopelessness, folks. And that's what you get. I mean, this guy, young man, had been in therapy and rehabilitation programs since he was 15 years old. I've always said on my channel that the people are criminals. The people that work in therapy, psychotherapy, and mental health are criminals. So this Nick Reiner is absolute living proof that you can't be helped once you reach a certain point. He had all these years, so these therapists, 17 years, and he just basically gave up. He finally had enough. He said, my life sucks. I'm never going to... There's no evidence he ever had a girlfriend. He talked about losing his virginity when he was 14 by paying a prostitute. He called it a sex worker. So imagine living like that. You're 32 years old, and he killed his parents because he's simply killing himself as well, because he reached a point that he just gave up. He doesn't care what anybody thinks about him. He doesn't care what happens to him. He doesn't care if he spends the rest of his life in prison or he gets put to death 30 years from now. But anyhow, I'll talk about it some other time. So it's 11:12 p.m. New Year's Eve. And I'll talk to y'all another time, probably over the weekend, maybe even tomorrow. Thank you.